Today I'm ranking the best player from every NBA team in 2020. We're talking all 30 squads. That's playoff teams, lottery squads, every single team. But there can only be one player from every team. So that means teams with dynamic duos like the Nets, the Rockets, Clippers, and the Lakers, those teams will only get one player that represents their squad. So in this journey, not only will I give you the best player from every team in 2020, but I'm also going to rank these players from 1 through 30. So who do you think is going to be in the top 10 or the top 5? Better yet, who's number 1? Let's get it.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Welcome back to Journey of a Ballaholic, the best talk show for basketball addicts. I'm your host, General Hannibal X. Now, if you're new on this channel, you're going to be getting my passionate and in-depth analysis on the hottest NBA and college basketball topics. Listen, I'm a ballaholic, absolutely addicted to basketball. And like everyone, I have an opinion. But if you like opinions that are backed by facts, go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, but also be sure that you tap that bell notification so that you'll be updated whenever I drop new videos, which is every Monday and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, before we get into this video, I want to give a quick shout out to DEROZAN. He recently gave the channel a mention for inspiring him to do his own series on who's going to win the title for 2020. So be sure that you check his channel out as well. Now let's go ahead and kick things off at number 30. We're going to start off with the Charlotte Hornets. Now this was tough to decide on who truly was their best player. But for me, I had to go with Devontae Graham over Terry Rozier. Now, I know the Scary Terry was brought in to be that guy, but it's actually been Graham who's been the better player. Graham he's averaging more points, assists, steals, minutes, and even shot attempts. Graham was one of my under-the-radar players at the beginning of the season, and he's definitely not disappointed. Now, coming in at number 29, I'm going with Blake Griffin. Now, it's been 7 years. 7 years since Blake Griffin has had back-to-back seasons of 60-plus games played. Now, for someone whose career started off so bright, it's truly sad to see just how low he's ranked on this list. But listen, I also had to consider that Derrick Rose, he's been having an amazing season. But for me, I still had to give this award to Blake Griffin as being the best player on the Detroit Pistons. Next up at 28, I'm going with the Beast, Julius Randle. One of my favorite players when he was with the Lakers, Randle has had another amazing season, averaging 19.5 points, 9.7 rebounds, and 3.1 assists. Julius is the true definition of a bull in the china shop. Okay, let's move on to number 27. Now this is the lightning fast De'Aaron Fox with the Sacramento Kings. Now, though his outside shot has kind of seemed to regress from his sophomore year, Fox has consistently gotten better each year that he's been as an overall point guard. Now, the Kings, they got an uphill battle if they're trying to make the playoffs in 2020, but any success that they're going to have is largely going to be due to how well De'Aaron Fox plays. Okay, moving to number 26. I got to go with the Orlando big man, Nikola Vucevic. Now, what's surprising is that there's only 2 players in the entire NBA, just 2 guys, that average over 19 points and 11 rebounds. The first is Giannis, the reigning MVP, and the only other player in the league, that's Vucevic. That alone brings him to number 26 on this list. I had to put him in. Now at 25, this is a special young player, a guy that by next year will definitely be in the top 20 of this list, if not higher. I gotta go with Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies. He's super athletic and surprisingly efficient. Listen, the fact that Memphis is currently in the 8th seed, that's largely due to Ja's heroics. Now, coming in at 24, I gotta go with the big man Andre Drummond. Now, I know Drummond has only played 8 games for the Cavs, and while Kevin Love has that reputation as being the best player, it's actually been Drummond who's been leading the NBA in rebounds and has done so for 4 of the last 5 years. So for the Cavs' best player, I gotta go with the big man Andre Drummond. Okay, so now we're at number 23. Now, this right here is guys based on talent who would definitely be higher. But the fact that he's only played 49 games over the last 2 seasons, this is why Victor Oladipo comes in at number 23. Now in 2018, he led the NBA in steals, but since then, he really just hasn't been able to stay healthy. I think that Vic has a lot of game left in him, and next year, he's gonna actually have to show it on the court. Honestly, man, number 20 was the hardest player for me to have to rank, but I had to give it to my guy, Chris Paul from the OKC Thunder. This right here is the guy who's been the main reason why the Thunder are locked into the 2020 playoffs. Now, though his numbers are significantly down from the years past, his impact on the team is absolutely undeniable. Still one of the clutchest players in the NBA today. So I got CP3 at number 20. Now let's jump over to number 19 for my guy, Thanos, aka Zion Williamson. Okay, listen, I get it. I understand why people may think this is a stretch. He's only played 19 games in his entire career. But in those 19 games, Zion has single-handedly changed the Pelicans' lottery-bound team to being favorites to land for the 8th seed out west. Now next up is number 18. Coming in from the Phoenix Suns, I gotta go with Devin Booker, man. Booker's one of just 4 players to average over 26 points per game in each of the last 2 seasons. It's Harden, Giannis, Kawhi, and Booker. That's it. So moving on to number 17, this was a really tough choice, man. But I had to decide between the Utah Jazz top 2 players, Gobert or Mitchell. And ultimately I decided to go with Donovan Mitchell. He leads the team in points, steals, and he's 3rd in assists. Now a case could be made for Gobert as well, but I'm going with Donovan Mitchell. Now at number 16, I'm going with Bradley Beal. Now the biggest knock on him is that Beal is a combined record of 41 wins and 70 losses. That's 70 losses in the last 2 seasons in games he played without John Wall on the court with him. Now he's yet to be able to show us that he can be the best player even on a playoff team. But when you're averaging 30 points per game, I had to put him in number 16. Now, we're halfway through, so if you're getting any value out of this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the bell notification as well. Now, let's go ahead and get into number 15. Now, this right here may come as a major surprise, but I'm going with the Atlanta Hawks' Trae Young. Listen, Trae is the first player since Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double for the first time in 2017. Trae's the first player to average 29 plus points per game, 9 plus assists per game while doing both in the same season. You talk about a big-time player, and listen, he's only getting better, man. Now, coming in at number 14, I've got Karl Anthony Towns. Now, Towns is clearly one of the most talented players in the entire NBA. He's got career averages of 53.4% field goal. He's got career averages of 39.6% shooting from the 3, which is exceptional for anybody, especially for a big man. And he's got career averages of 83% shooting from the free throw line. Listen, his biggest downside is his lack of winning. And we understand, the West is tough, but he's got to win more if he expects to move up this list. Okay, so now coming in at number 13, I'm going with Jimmy Buckets. Listen, Butler led the Miami Heat from a 39-43 record last year to the number 4 seed that they're currently sitting in right now. There's not many tougher guys in the league than NBA's Jimmy Butler. Now, next up at 12, I'm going with Toronto's own Pascal Siakam. Now, I have to make this correction since so many rightfully corrected my mistake in the last video, that in 2019, Pascal Siakam was the most improved player in the NBA. Now, we also know that he's proven he could be just one of just 7 guys in the entire NBA today that have actually proven they could be the first or the second option on the title team. Now, coming in at number 11, I'm going with Jason Tatum. And I gotta admit, man, it was close between Siakam and Jason Tatum. But Tatum does have a higher PER, he also has a higher win shares, as well as having a higher box plus or minus than Siakam does. But Jason Tatum, he does have that below average free throws per field goal attempts rate, where the league averages 25.8% and Tatum is down to at 25.1%. I think most of that is due to his love and his effectiveness in the mid-range and from deep, but it did kind of keep him out of my top 10. Okay, speaking of my top 10, sliding in at number 10, I've got the big man in Philly, Joel Embiid. At 7 feet 250 and still only 26 years old, Joel is an elite two-way big man, clearly one of the top 2 centers in the NBA today. Now coming in at number 9, I've got the Joker, Nikola Jokic. Now, it was a tough decision putting him over Embiid, but the fact that Jokic is more durable and reliable, plus he's more efficient on offense, scoring inside and outside, while also being a much better facilitator, that mitigated the edge that Embiid has over Jokic on the defensive end. Now, you also got to add in the fact that Jokic's stats seem to get better in the playoffs when you compare that to Embiid's numbers, which seem to get worse when the playoffs come. So I got to go with Jokic at number 9. Now, moving on to number 8, I got the Don, Luka Doncic. In just his second season, Luka has taken his numbers from 21-8-6 as a rookie up to almost 29-9-9. Listen, some may think that Luka deserves to be ranked higher, and honestly, I kind of thought about that, but truly, I want to see how he performs in the playoffs before I put him over some of the people that I have listed above him. Okay, let's slide over to number 7, and I got to go with Dame time, Damian Lillard. Listen, he is ridiculously clutch, and even without him having a second star, he took the Portland Trail Blazers to the Western Conference Finals just last season. Listen, that's not a shot at CJ McCollum, but Dame really is the only top-notch player over in Portland. Now, at number 6, I got the babyface assassin. Listen, his hand injury is largely what has him ranked so low, and of course, he's the best shooter of all time without question. But his lack of defense, it truly kept him from being in my top 5. Okay, and listen. Coming in at number 5 is going to be a guy that you may question why he's at 5 if Curry isn't. But listen, coming in at number 5, I got the bearded one, James Harden. Now I know many would rank Curry over him. And for me, I think the Harden's improved defense, it was just enough when you add in the fact that he's truly unstoppable on the offensive end. I mean, he's really one of amongst the greatest scorers, literally of all time, not just in today's game. And so I think that was enough where he's kind of giving more effort on the defensive end. His usage is so high, but yet teams just are unable to stop him that I had to put him in number 5. Now, sliding over to number 4, I'm going with the Durantula. Listen, his Achilles injury is truly the only reason he's not number 1 on this list. But until I see him back on the court doing what he does best, this is as low as I could drop him, even despite coming off an Achilles injury where he's missed the entire 2020 season. Now, the top 3 guys should be no surprise. Now, coming in at number 3, I'm going with the Claw, Kawhi Leonard. Now, I know that he's the reigning All-Star MVP as well as the Finals MVP, but load management, that's what truly stopped him from being in the top 2 discussion. He's not even in the MVP conversations because of the fact he wants to load manage so much. So I want to see my best players playing more than what he does. So when you hear talks or guys on ESPN with Stephen A. Smith and them talking about him having a degenerative knee issue, and you also got to kind of bring up the question of how long can he truly go playing at such a high and elite level, I had to put him in the top 3, but not in the top 2. Now, coming down for my final 2, it's absolutely no surprise here, or at least it shouldn't be. I got the top 2 MVP candidates in 2020. Number 2, I'm going with Giannis, the reigning MVP, and likely he's going to be able to win it again this year. But as we know, that's just a regular season award, and the crown is to be won in the playoffs, which is why my number 1 player in the game is still LeBron James. Even in year 17, he's proved that he can not only win the West, but also that he's leading the Lakers to the best record and potentially one of the title favorites to win the championship this year. He showed that not only could he do that, he also could run point guard consistently as he's leading the entire NBA in assists and he's second in the NBA in triple doubles. Listen, until Giannis wins a title or until Durant is able to win without the Golden State Warriors or until Kawhi Leonard can prove he can be the best player on a championship team that beats a fully healthy team, LeBron is still the Don. So let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about top 30 list as far as I rank the best player on each team 1 through 30. Listen, if you missed my video where I did a breakdown of why the Lakers will win the 2020 championship, go ahead and click the box right here. Also, if you missed my series where I broke down my top 5 title contenders, go ahead and click the playlist up top. Listen, I appreciate you for taking a look at this video. Hey, until next time, make sure that you stay safe out there if you're in those streets. And remember, no justice, no peace.